Hi, everybody. I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show. And I tell you what, it's Monday. What is it? The 16th of September. Right. Back in my sweaters. Excellent. I think we went straight from like what was pathetic summer straight into winter. Anywho, I got to tell you, and you don't get this on the other channels, right? You don't get this on the other channels. There is nothing like just before you're about to broadcast and your very old dog decides to wee everywhere. So of course, I always have the mop and the bucket and the hot water and the detergent always on the go, right? I'm not kidding. And it looked like Lake Michigan out there. Jeez. It puts you in a very good mood just before you're about to broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him. You love him. He doesn't have any issues with canines or felines. He's just the comedy god of the Tolworth Tower. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Long. How was that? Was that like big enough? Was that a big enough?
Amazing. Your build-ups. Good afternoon, Asa Don Brown. Your build-ups get better every day.
Well, you're very sweet. You're very kind, but you deserve it because you're working your little socks off on the comedy circuit, whereas I'm not. I asked one favor of somebody and it came back, oh, we can't get you on this year. So I thought, what the hell? I just wanted to do one more show this year, but I'm not going to do it now.
I think a whole lot of comedy still want you.
Do they? Well, they've never contacted me. They're very welcome.
Yeah,
I happily do it.
They absolutely want you. I'll hook you up after the show.
Okie dokie. Just I'm very happy to do it, and I would do that. I have joined, and you'll love this. I think you'll love this. A new little club in town being London, if you're in America, and it's the funniest, weirdest little place, but it's adorable. And it's called the Concert Artists Association.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hidden away in Covent Garden. If you didn't know it was there, you would never find it. And they've just renovated it. And it's for all the old acts where they go. It's adorable. And the atmosphere is so, so nice. And it's so sweet. And if you're in town, we will go there and have a little sandwich. It's time warped, which is what I adore about it. Graham Pack.
Oh, here we go.
You better read it, Longy.
It's our 40th wedding anniversary. What did I give my wife? COVID. That's really... Well, you're the caring, sharing type, aren't you?
Gee. It's coming back, this COVID nonsense. Get well soon, Ray Gelato. Ray Gelato feeling very, very, very rough. Couldn't even make Saturday for the Secret Cigar Trio. He couldn't make it. He's in bed. His son, Sammy, probably brought something lurgy back from uni or holiday or somewhere. And now Raymondo is stuck in bed feeling terrible. Here's an interesting question from Kimmy. And it says this. We need answers. Sounds like you had a great birthday, Neil.
Can I quickly tell you about my birthday weekend?
Take your time. I'm in no rush.
It was really, really good. I went to see Beetlejuice. Have you seen the original one?
Yes, of course. Yes. 36 years ago or something crazy?
It's batshit crazy, brilliant, and it's better. It really, really is. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's better. It's better than the original. Really, really, really good. Saw Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time in my 56 years on this planet.
You've never seen it? Oh my God.
No, I wore fishnets and high heels. I don't know how you girls do it. I don't know how you rock the high heels. I just don't know. They were so painful.
I'm sorry.
I won't be doing it again.
What did you do? What
I said I was wearing fishnets and high heels.
Oh, dear God. This is how it starts.
Got some interesting looks on the tube.
Now you'll be invading your toilet soon.
I got some interesting looks on the tube on the way out, but when I got to Tottenham Court Road, there was other people dressed up. There's kind of a brotherhood thing. And they said to me, I'll see you in there. And I said, where? It's just my normal day. Why are you staring at me?
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's an absolute romp. Yeah,
when it
so it was very, very good fun.
I am that old that I went to see the original production. And it was on what is now, I think, called the Prince Charles Cinema or something. But it was on in Chelsea, on the King's Road, Chelsea. And I was young. It had just started, and it had the original proper cast from way back when.
O'Brien?
Richard O'Brien and all the gang. Yeah. I can't even remember who was in the original cast, but anyway, I was there. And it hadn't been open very long. We'd heard a rumor there was this new show in town, and we rocked along, us crazy kids as we were back in the day. Yeah, it was fun. A lot of
Brilliant.
fun. I wonder what it is, Longy, that makes people still like it after all this time.
It's. I didn't realize it. There's a whole thing where the audience shouts back. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah, that grew
So
over
someone
the
heckled,
years.
and I went, "Are they supposed to do that?" And it's like, "Oh yeah." And one of the funniest lines. It's all done in very camp Rocky Horror way, but there's a whole script for it you can get, so the audience knows exactly what to say when. It's such a thing. It's all scripted and everything. And the narrator steps out all serious. He goes, "What's gone?" And the heckle is, "Your career," which I thought was hilarious.
Now, I keep saying, because I'm on the tube all the time, I don't mean the old TV show, I mean the London Underground. What is Jason Donovan in it?
Yes.
But is he on screen or is he in it? He's actually there.
No, he's there. What do you mean? No, he's there.
Okay. Because sometimes with these things, they have it filmed, but not with that. Oh, good. So I'm pleased. He's obviously having a ball.
It really was. And they're waiting outside the stage door for him. All these Jason fans singing "Too Many Broken Hearts in the World," all that sort of thing. And I felt so sorry for him, for the other actors. They were coming out the stage door, and there's all these girls going, "Way oh!" When the door opened, and it wasn't Jason. Then the door opens again, "Way oh!" like that. And then "Way oh!" And then Jason comes out for about 10 seconds, and then goes back. I thought just 10 seconds will do. But there you go.
So, why were you hanging around the stage door?
I wasn't, Nadia.
Yes, you were.
I was not. I just wanted Jason to see me in fishnets.
You were hanging up. Oh, Jace, it's Neil. Neil, look, over here.
Yeah, I was a D-list celebrity. I was available, but nobody wanted me. Oh, hello.
They were Neil.
Morning, Liz.
Look, ladies and gentlemen. No. We've got to do a proper introduction. Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed and graced with both beatific smiles, curly hair, and a brain the size of the planet Jupiter. Please welcome professional broadcaster Liz Saul.
Hello. Good afternoon.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it, Longy.
Very good.
See, look, put a little smile on her face. As Julie Voice says, twinned with Guildford and Texas, audience participation is part of the fun of the show. Good day, Liz. Look at that Azadon Brown in there like a ferret. Good day,
Good day, Aza. Speaking of Texas, I have just dropped my cousin off at university, her first day at university. Yeah. She suddenly got very overexcited and overwhelmed all at the same time.
Oh, did she cry?
She is. I don't think I gave her time to, actually. She sort of dashed off.
Bye now. See ya. See you in 3 years. Bye. Actually, take a PhD. See you in 5 years. Bye.
No. No.
Oh gosh.
Gave her all the way from Dallas in Texas to study here.
Why? Don't they have universities in Texas? They must do. They've got enough.
They do, but actually, it's both cheaper and more prestigious to study here.
Is it now? Which university might this be?
Middlesex.
Is that a university? It was a poly last time I looked.
It's a very prestigious university. It's been a university for years. It was a university when I went to university. And that was quite a long time ago now.
You're a child. You're 27.
Of course.
Child. That's Neil is what? What were you last birthday? 33? 34?
Yeah, I wish.
About 34, weren't you?
Hey, we should sing to him. It was his birthday at the weekend. He's 34
no, we know that. We've covered this.
We have. Okay,
Elizabeth.
Oh no, you can't call me that.
We have covered this extensively. That it was Longy's birthday. He went to the Rocky Horror Show.
He did, and I told him, "Don't forget your fishnets," and he didn't.
Did you wear a top, Neil?
Yes, I wore a top saying "man whore."
Oh God!
I know. What? What?
You have no
Shame.
not shame. You don't care.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Why do you not care? It's amazing. See, you couldn't pay me enough money to do that. I get on the train, I shut my eyes and I pretend to be asleep the whole journey. Always.
Yeah.
Well,
Always. I
no,
want to
you
make
don't,
eye
because you post pictures of sitting in an
Only
empty
if I'm on
carriage.
my own. Obviously, if I'm on my own, I don't have to pretend to be asleep. I'm not going to make eye contact with the invisible man, am I? So, Neil, where did you get this bravado from? Because it's an interesting thing.
I just don't care. Look, I sing on stage about having sex with Hoovers for my comedy act. I don't care.
I was going to say, he's always had outrageous T-shirts like that. That's not a new thing.
Right.
The fishnets, though, I think that was a first. So I'm very impressed.
People seem to find that funny, so I keep doing it.
What, the fishnets or the T-shirts?
Or the songs. The songs are very funny, I have to say.
Yes.
I know I banged on about it, but I hadn't seen your act until over a year ago now. Where's the time gone? It's gone like, gone. And I thought your songs about the Hoover and everything were hilarious. Hilarious and very fresh and very original. And Liz, how did you spend your weekend?
There was lots of family stuff going on, because not only had my cousin, who I've been looking after, arrived from Dallas last week, but some other cousins have arrived from Denmark via Singapore, and one of them is studying.
Do they have a map? I don't want to be rude, but if they're heading to London from Denmark via Singapore, is pretty shit.
Well, yes, but they hail from Denmark. One was working and one was studying in Singapore for the last 2 years,
right?
And then they've come to London.
And
it was one of my
yes. They're Danish. Were they working on the pain coefficient of standing on a piece of Lego with bare feet?
No.
Damn. I was hoping that would be more of a comedy line, frankly, Longy. I was hoping that would land a little bit better, but Liz just kicked me into touch straight away. Just
got to keep you boys in line.
Oh God, I couldn't be any more in line if I couldn't be any more in line if I tried.
Well, I tell you where I am. That's very exciting. I don't know if you can tell. Clearly, I'm not in the same place as Neil today, because I'm in my own house.
Congratulations!
Good grief! Your own house?
Yes, finally.
Small cottage.
The renovations have finished. There's some snagging to do, but that's always the way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the snagging with builders is, I'm so sorry. Are you planning to put the roof back on the house before you go? That's normally the snagging.
Oh no, it's just little bits and pieces. But the one that was quite interesting this morning is with my cousin Liz. The towel rail's fallen off the wall, and you know when you're just like, holy shit. And okay, that's fine. Let me just put it back up again. Quick, where's the plumber's number?
Does she have an exciting name, your Dallas Texan cousin?
Caitlin.
I was hoping for something a little more yeehaw, but I mean, have you met Caitlin, Neil? Have you met this
briefly?
Caitlin?
I have. Yes, she's very pleasant.
Was she wearing chaps, a cowboy hat, and silver sparkly Taylor Swift boots?
No.
Oh.
She's a bit
more
sure
she's from Texas? You sure? I thought that's how everybody...
She had jeans and a jumper on. For her, it's cold here. It
is cold here.
Still 90 degrees over there at the moment, and she's come here, and it's like, yeah.
Here's the thing, gang. Whenever I say to my son who lives in Texas, well, I think I'll come over and see you. Oh,
yeah. So my weekend consisted of dealing with oodles of family.
Okay. Okay. Right. I get it. Whenever I phone my son, well, no, he phones me, actually. I don't phone him. Who lives in Texas, as you may recall. I say, well, thinking of coming over. It'd be nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a few years, you know.
Oh, me.
Hot. It's going to be too hot. It's going to be too hot. Too hot. What about, when it's cooler? Oh, well, really busy. I'm so busy at work. Okay. Well, what about? Yeah, I've given up. I've completely given up of ever visiting Texas. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think it's just gone into the wind. That's it. I'd like to go. I'd like to go and see it. Apparently, it's a beautiful city. Austin. Do you know Austin? You been, Longy?
No, I've heard about Austin.
Yeah, it's meant to be fabulous, but I've never been. Anyway, I've given up suggesting that I might travel to Austin, Texas. The most I'm going to get there is in an Austin Mini Minor. Yesterday, I'd been working. I'd seen clients in the morning. I got 2 funerals coming up on the same day in 2 different locations. So that's a busy old day. And so I saw the clients. The last lot of clients I saw on Friday evening, and then I saw some yesterday. And it's always charming to meet new people and be there for them. And I thought, well, I'd chill out a little bit in the afternoon and go out.
I think you should
go out for a cup of tea.
You'd enjoy.
Yeah, and went to this place I'd never been to before.
Update capital, yeah.
So went to this place I'd never been there before, and there was a big sign. By pure chance, it said "Classic Car Show." I'm in the middle of nowhere. I mean, really, middle of nowhere. Little country lane thing. It wasn't a long drive, so I can't stand driving anymore. And it was fantastic. It was all these fabulous cars, and it was so low key, and it was quintessentially British. And what was great is all the owners were so happy just to chat about the cars. It was such a friendly little family type event. You know, people sitting on their little picnic chairs, and it was really very, very nice indeed. It was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. Julie Voice says, Austin is great, Houston not so great. Okay. Well, Austin it is.
I like looking at
cars. I hear a lot about Austin, Texas. It seems like the place to be.
Neil, would you care to read this out?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're fitting well. Last week was a tough one for me. Russ knows why, but hey, it is what it is. Onwards and upwards, stiff upper lip, and all the best to you, Paul.
Yeah, I've never known anybody really go through such a difficult, rough life as Paul. And he's a charming chap. And nobody deserves, well, a few people deserve it, but Paul Claridge doesn't deserve it. Paul, we wish you well. You know that. Paul messages me a lot. And to be honest with you, gang, I don't really know what to say. I just try and be vaguely comforting and supportive, but it's really hard because, you know, your heart breaks. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let me... The cash is under the mat. God. The cash. I got... Jesus.
You're all right there.
You don't get that on Radio 4. Anyway.
Like
well, you do actually. You do get that on Radio 4. Have you not heard of Thomas Schaffernacker?
If you're going to come on and just swear at Neil, you're going to leave. I'm not having that. So Neil is my friend. I'm not having him sworn at with your
Schaffernackers. Yes, you can keep the Schaffernackers well and truly out of this.
Yeah, you have to look. Just because he had his Schaffernackers on display on the tube on Saturday night in his fishnets does not mean that they are subject for derision by you.
Thomas Schaffernacker is a very funny...
You're making this up, aren't you?
No. BBC weather presenter. Look him up. But he's also very mischievous. He's great to work with, actually. But one festive season, he was a little bit worse for wear, but he had to do the weather on Radio 4 in the morning.
Oh.
And he did similar to what you just did a couple of minutes ago, but it was more self-inflicted. Well, yes.
Choke.
And vomit.
Well, I wasn't vomiting, but I was...
No, I know. I said similar. Not exactly the same. But it's because he was a bit worse for wear. And he was mid-bulletin and he suddenly went, hang on a minute, didn't quite get the microphone down in time.
No,
what?
Oh. That is horrible.
You can Google that.
Radio fail.
Oh, yeah.
My
you could Google
God.
that.
All right. I was going to ask you something. I've got something. Right. Philip Harlick. Hello. Oh, look at that. Philip knows a lot of things. He seems a very knowledgeable chap. Thomas Schaffenacher.
Yes.
Is
Shaffy your
also
knackers.
What's the matter with her today, Neil? She's gone raving mad, gone into her own home. She's
Really
become
apologise.
an absolute siren, a sultry temptress. Thomas is also a good artist. Saw him on Portrait Artist of the Year. Oh, cool. I like it when
Yes,
people do
he's
that.
correct.
Well, where? Oh, Esther Ray is there. Mwah, mwah, mwah,
Hello,
mwah.
Esther Ray.
We love
Morning,
Esther Ray.
darlings.
Esther Ray's great.
As opposed to
Excellent.
Esther Noche, eh, Neil?
No, you lost me completely now. Is this
Ask
another
Neil about
Schaffenacher
Esther
gag?
Noche.
Oh, don't. Not this again.
Esther Ray's great. By the way, she does great jazz. If you ever want to go and see a very cool jazz evening, go and see Esther Ray. She's just delightful and very funny and a charming person. Now then, what was I going to say? Yes, I'm going to ask you. I'm changing the subject very, very slightly.
Okay.
Because of my celebrant work, it's not a plug, it's a point to this. And it's a support group as well amongst the celebrants who've trained over the years together. And it's important because sometimes you need to decompress, a lot of times you need advice, etc., etc. And somebody would say, Fat Scotty, how do you team? Apologies for my tardiness. I've been listening to my favorite podcast.
You make him sound like Donald Sutherland.
Scotty, do you want to present with me on Wednesday?
Just say yes. We love Scott Lyons. LinkedIn user, hey Russ, your cousin here. Well, I have a few
Is this
cousins.
a family
Which one are you?
reunion?
Which is it Jamie? My cousin, I don't know who it is. Your cousin here. Your live feed just popped up on my LinkedIn feed, looking very sharp as always. Loving seeing you on my screen. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Ah.
I wonder which cousin it is. You'll let me know.
But they're obviously not logged in terribly well or properly. Or
Why?
maybe is it Francine? Is that one of your cousins?
Fran doesn't use LinkedIn. Fran doesn't.
Oh, Craig. There you go.
It's Craigie. It's Craig. Hello, Craigie. Oh, Craig, weirdly enough, Francine's son. There you go.
Ah, there we go.
Ah, Craigie. Yeah, Craig, I saw Mum and Dad over the weekend. They looked I needed some advice, and they looked lovely. They're just the love. Well, she's like my sister, we're ridiculously close. Right, back to the point, and I need to ask you both this. It's a serious thing. So, in this support group, which is the Celebrant Circle Inner Circle, it's called, and somebody was dealing with a funeral, and they hadn't done many funerals. It was pretty early on in their celebrant career, and the circumstances of the death were pretty miserable. It was young and it wasn't great. No, Fat Scotty can't join you on Wednesday. I'd love to
Another time, sir.
I wonder what FFS means. Forward,
for fuck's sake.
forever, Scotty. Probably means that. Do you think?
No, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. Anyway, the lady in question got upset and it affected her badly, this particular funeral. And I wrote back and said that, which is the only thing which has kept me sane, life is a random lottery, right? If you look for meaning, I know Neil doesn't agree with this, but if you look for meaning and why me, it's the road to madness. You will go round the bend.
It is. I don't fully disagree. I disagree.
Okay.
I didn't mean it
the
like
point
that.
I was trying to... I'll come back because I need your viewpoints. I'd like your viewpoints. So what I was trying to say to her in my possibly clumsy way is, if you start to delve into why did this happen to this particular person, were they a bad person, though they were a lovely person, why did that lousy things happen to lovely people like Paul Claridge? If you look for meaning and signs and portents, you'll go potty. And that's what I was trying to say. It is what it is. What it is. The Ray Gelato song. It is what it is, and it's just random, and that's it. It's not great, but it's how it is.
I think we give things meaning. We're the meaning makers, and
Explain.
that's where skills like reframing, which you learn in NLP, come in useful. And
So reframing is what's reframing then?
Reframing is just simply looking at something in a different way through a different frame.
Okay.
So you could look at it through the why me, which can descend into self-pity.
Yeah.
You know, what have I done to deserve this? That's one particular frame.
Never
or you could choose a different frame. I'll learn something from this. I will grow from this. You know, people have got my back. You know, that sort of thing. So it all depends on the frame that you choose. And there's frames that will terrorize you, and there's frames that will comfort you and support you. But you get to choose. That's the thing.
It is hard, though, and I'm not decrying what you're saying, and then we'll ask Liz what she thinks, but I'm not decrying in the least what you're saying, but it's really hard when you're down in the trenches and you're dodging the bullets of life and all the rest of it to say, and I find it very hard. All right, I'll just put my hands up and say, I find it's really hard to say, you know what, I'm going to learn from this. I'm just thinking, what the is this? This is awful, and I'm not enjoying it at all. What have I learned? Nothing. It's... Liz, what do you think?
I know what you mean, and it's not always easy, but I think it is important to emphasize that it is a choice. And I don't think people, but if you feel like a victim, you won't feel that you have a choice. Oh, this always happens to me. Oh, it's genetic, it's in our family. That these things, it's kind of victimy, and it's just not a particularly empowering point of view.
Being a victim,
the more choice you have, the better.
Choosing to be, I'm being careful here, so I don't want to cause too much offense.
I'm not making light, and I'm not
no,
at all. I know some people are going through very, very difficult things. We all have. Thank you, Asa Don Brown. But I think, Dr. Asa, and you must see it a lot in your work in the psychological fields, that a lot of people have. Paul McKenna calls it a victim trance, because he talks in hypnosis terms. He says it's like the trance of believing that you're a victim, but if you believe you've at least got some agency, some choice, at least the choice in how to respond, response ability, hyphenated, then it's just a more empowering and certainly more joyful way to live than feeling that you're a victim and there's nothing you can do. That's probably the worst feeling in the world.
It's horrible. Horrible. You see, what's
horrible
about the
so it's the feeling of victimhood that I think we need to try and avoid.
You've got to get out of that. It's really hard, but I mean, if nothing else from this show, if we've had a few laughs, whatever, it is really important. That whole, you know, I'm a victim. You're not. Shitty things have happened. But as Neil, I couldn't agree with you more. Once you enter into I'm a victim and you kind of abdicate, it's almost an abdication. The interesting thing about the three of us is really shitty things have happened to all three of us in completely different ways. You know, we've known each other for a while, but over the years, you know, things have happened. I don't need to go into it now. Liz, have you ever felt like a victim, and how have you dealt with those?
No, and I don't think that's healthy at all. And I know people who they seem to revel in the playing the victim, and I don't think it's helpful for them, and I don't think it's helpful for the people around them. And I know people like that, and you know, you sort of not keep your distance exactly, but you think, okay, that's how, you know, no matter what I say to you or or you ask my advice and then I give the advice and whatever, but they don't appreciate it because they love the drama. They love playing the victim. You have to sort of, and you know, and the thing is I'm always I don't deal with death very well. But equally, I'm quite practical in that, you know, I had somebody over the weekend sort of say, oh, I'm not really into meditating. Oh, I find it very difficult. Oh, it's all this mumbo jumbo spiritual, this, that, and the other. And I said, no. I said, it doesn't have to be at all. I said, it can be something as simple as if you feel a bit anxious, what's your favorite calming piece of music? Your favorite music. There's nothing spiritual about that. It's just a piece of music that you like. Could be anything from, you know, It could be anything from Celine Dion to thrash metal or whatever.
Yeah, of
You
course it
know,
could. Yes.
my favorite, I like ballads and things like that. I said, what's your favorite calming piece of music? Oh, and they said, I quite like this song. And tell me a couple of others. Oh, okay. So you've got about 15, 20 minutes there. Sit down with a hot drink and just listen to that music and let your mind, clear your mind and focus your mind. And I said, and that is in its very basic form, a meditation, and will help to calm you a little. They're like, oh, I never realised that,
Well, no, because you use the word spiritual and it conjures up all sorts of things in people's minds.
Yeah.
But you could argue, I think Einstein says something like this, all of life is a miracle. Everything is spiritual. And if feeling good means listening to your favorite piece of music, whether it's Mozart or Metallica, it doesn't matter. It's whatever makes you feel good. It's whatever takes you to bring science into it, into the parasympathetic nervous system. That's where we want to be. We want to be out of sympathetic. That's for short bursts only, fight or flight. And we all spend far too much time in that. Normally, because our own thinking drives us there. I've noticed that. I've observed myself. I get worried about something. I think, let me just test it, see if I'm freaking myself out with my own thoughts. Let's see what actually happens. And do you know what? 100% of the time, I've been running a number on myself.
Could you explain? Because I love the sound of that. Give me if you can, without anything too personal. Give me an example.
But it's like the devil on your shoulder, isn't it?
Oh, I have that. I have that 24 hours a day. No, Neil, what were you? I do. Neil,
what I mean is, we can all terrorize ourselves with our own thoughts. There's what happens. And then there's what we think about what happens. When I was going through all of that with my mum, I was convinced that I was a terrible son, a terrible person. And that constant self-attack is what did me in. It wasn't the situation. I still don't think I did particularly well in some aspects of it. And in some cases, I did. In some bits, I did. But
you did your best.
With what I knew at the time.
In an impossible situation.
Don't swerve past that. It's an important point.
Yeah,
you did your best, and that's all one can ever ask of anybody.
Thank you. I think what I'm trying to say is that there's been situations. I don't know. I can't remember, but off the top of my head, I was worried about something. I'm ruminating, Then I thought, am I just scaring myself with my own thoughts here? Let's see what happens. So I just dropped the subject and waited to see what the outcome was. 100% of the time, it's me winding myself up. And it serves no purpose. And to go back to, so it's sometimes worth doing that little experiment with yourself. We can terrify ourselves and do with our own thinking frequently, particularly if we're in fight or flight a lot. So we need to stop.
It's exhausting as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's draining. And come back to something that Liz said about people loving the drama. We learned this in NLP. There's a thing called secondary gain, which means people get some sort of benefit from the problem. And they don't want to give the problem up, because the perfect example is someone I know refused to have a life-changing operation which would give him a new lease of life because he'd lose his benefits. That's secondary gain.
Oh, Christ.
That's secondary gain.
Oh, God.
But secondary gain comes in many. I'm sure Asa Don Brown, I can see he's just typed something.
He's got a long,
you must
long
come
thing
across this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Liz, would you read that out?
Sure. Yeah. In simple victimhood, victimhood keeps you trapped in the moment. You'll never be free of the event unless you let go and move forward. When the event occurs, it's okay, feel pain, anger, etc., but you must be willing to let go and move on with your life. Scars may remain, but healing must occur.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a lovely way of looking at it, Dr. Asa.
Yes.
And I think the more willing you are to face it and move forward, the quicker you pass through it. The feelings just want to be felt, and they move forward. And once the feelings have delivered their message, you're free to move on. You could call it emotional processing.
Here's a very interesting. I'm going to read this because then I'm going to raise the questions from Philip Harling. The majority of the time, when you're in a predicament, it's been created by your own actions. Hello. If you look to blame someone else for your own mistakes, which I really don't like that at all, mishaps, you will not be able to deal with the future problems. Absolutely right. Two things.
Yes,
and
the second half of that.
Let me bounce this back to you with two questions to both Liz and Longy, right? Number one, we seem to be living in a culture where everything is somebody else's fault. Nobody is willing to say, I fucked up. That's what I did. I really messed up. It's my fault. I'm sorry. And if people do that, they've got nowhere to go. They go, okay, and either they want to talk to you again, or they don't want to talk to you again. But just say, I messed up, and be honest about it.
Yeah.
However, point number 2, which is a question for both of you. If you realize that you're in the shitty situation in which you're in because of your own stupidity, how do you stop beating yourself to death every waking moment?
Okay. The problem is we live in a society where people are so quick to jump on things. We live in a very punitive society. So because of that, and because people are afraid of being blamed, the word responsibility has got a real heaviness to it nowadays. But when you frame it like in the NLP way, response ability, it gives you a greater palette of things to choose from. The ability to respond, response-ability. But you can't do that unless you own it for yourself. And you can't learn anything unless you own it for yourself. But it's very hard to own things for yourself when you feel that the whole of society is going to jump on you for the slightest mistake. Look at social media. It's a cesspool. Sometimes when you haven't even done anything wrong.
It's a sewer. It's an absolute sewer. It's an absolute sewer.
So
but
you can understand why people fear being responsible, because responsibility has been conflated with taking a fall, taking the blame, and it's not the same thing. Being responsible is just being able to respond, to take the right action. Responsible, inspired, positive, forthright action. That's responsibility. And owning it. It's got nothing to do with guilt or blame. We need to get rid of that. Awareness is the key. Awareness and self-love, and that's how you stop beating yourself up.
Very hard to do.
And this is something
hard to do.
This is something I've
But
said
you're right.
many times. This is something I've said many times, is that you can't help anyone else until you help yourself, until you look after yourself. And yes, you're right, Russ, as well, that it's very hard to love yourself. It's very easy to beat yourself up, but it's not about being perfect. It's just accepting yourself. I often say to Neil, do you know what? I'm content in my own skin. I'm not perfect. I don't believe anyone's perfect. Nothing and no one is perfect, but that's part of what makes life perfect. But because of our imperfections, and it's just learning to be accepting of all your flaws, of everything. My closest friends and my family, I love them, warts and all, but nobody's perfect, and that's okay. That's allowed.
Yeah. And I think striving for perfection is unhealthy, and perfection also implies completeness. So if you say, I'm now perfect, there's nowhere to go from that. There's no more evolving. You can't evolve anymore. You can't grow anymore. If you're perfect and complete and finished, but everything's a work in progress. So if you see yourself as a work in progress and inherently innocent, just a human being that makes mistakes, gets up, learns from them, that's all forgivable. In fact, it shouldn't even be forgiven. It shouldn't even be judged in the first place. But all the time we live, and you don't need to forgive if you haven't judged. You don't need to forgive if you've never condemned. So it becomes unnecessary. But all the time we live in this society that's ready to jump on your every slightest micro, and call you out on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's toxic. But I can understand why people.
What did these people do before social media? Because they've got so much time to criticize everybody else. I'm not talking about myself here, because I try 95% of the time to just keep it light and entertaining, because I learned long ago, and I have this endless discussion with Ray Gelato and Colin and Vaines, that you're not going to change people's minds. You're not. If they think, I'll give a stupid example. If they think Kamala Harris is the greatest, Donald Trump is Hitler, you can say what you like. You're not going to change their mind. So there's no point in going on about it. It is what it is.
People are allowed to think what they want to think. That's free will. People might not agree with what I do, getting on stage and singing about obscene things. There's probably some people that will find that very offensive. I don't really care. They're not my
don't go to the show.
Although American politics is very divisive.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's about accepting personal responsibility, sure. And this is the interesting bit: denying the projection or transference of others' issues.
Oh, complete.
Yeah,
transference.
exactly. Do you know what my dad finds Neil's stuff hilarious.
Yeah, I did. I thought. I mean, it was disgusting and hilarious at the same
He's
time.
got a great sense of humour.
Shout out,
Philip,
Kelly.
you're absolutely right. Philip, you're right. Gossip has, but gossip. Oh, you've seen what she's doing at number 33 with the milkman. Blah blah. Gossip, yeah, because it's kind of fun, but it hasn't been so vitriolic. There's always been gossip, you know.
Yeah.
Gossip.
No, but it is. It's vitriolic.
Cavemen, but
and
not
talking
this.
about.
But also, yeah.
Shit.
Very quickly talking about.
And it's spiteful. It's spiteful. There's always that. I've noticed that it's much more spiteful. It's for the sake of it. It's born out of maybe envy or jealousy. I have no place for that. I've never been jealous or envious of anything in my entire life. As I say, I'm content in my own skin. And I always say to people, you want to gossip about me? You want to chat about me? Talk to me. Otherwise, don't believe a word of it. You're just wasting your time. And if I'm so exciting that you need to gossip about me, well, what does that say about your life?
Oh,
well, I don't know. My life's pretty good, thank you, Liz. And I like.
Well, exactly. You see, but you don't gossip about me. You talk to me.
Oh, I do.
Back to projection. A perfect example, just in case anyone watching isn't familiar with what?
Nothing. Go on. Now you've upset him. Now, Liz. Now you've upset him.
Something. I'm speaking to both of you. Carry on.
Brown in the northeastern United States.
I give up.
God knows what time it is. It must be about 7 in the morning. So I've made many mistakes in this life, and I've learned that the only way to truly live life is through the unconditional acceptance of my person. Well, that's good.
Yes, absolutely.
I've learned to love myself beyond my successes and failures.
And that is really healthy.
Help me out. Give me a pint of whatever you're on. I'd love that.
Well, that's super healthy, because something else
Time to life
in NLP, listen, is people are not their behaviors. There is that personhood, self, soul, call it what you want, that's unblemished, untarnished, clean slate all the time.
What does that mean?
And that's where you need to kind of come from, you know, beyond the behaviors, beyond the slings and arrows of life.
What does this mean? I'm so sorry. This has caught my attention because I don't understand it. Just watch out for the nets on the opposite side. Oh, the
net curtains on the other side of the street.
Oh, the twitchers, yes.
Curtain twitchers, yes. I don't have to worry about that because
I'm available for panto.
Oh no, you're not.
No, I'm really not. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bear to do it again.
I've never done panto. What's it like? It looks very intense.
It's exhausting. You have no life. Do you really want to know what it's like? I did 9 years of really huge panto shows. I mean, you know, they were the massive ones, and I stopped doing it 20 years ago because I'd had enough. And did 9 years consecutively. When I say they were big shows, they took about 1.2 million back then.
Oh wow!
Back then, right? And the top of the bills, not me, the top of the bills were on average 34,000 a week. A week.
Wow.
That's the sort of money you're talking about. What was it like? Day one for rehearsals where you've never met before is terrifying because you know you're going to be with these people for about 2.5 months. You can't get away from them. And that day will decide if you really like Liz Saul, who's playing Principal Boy, or you think, oh, Christ. And then you're stuck. Normally, people are very, very nice and very lovely. It is absolutely exhausting because you're doing 2, sometimes 3 shows a day, 6 days a week. And obviously, your eating times go out the window because your curtain up will be 7 or 7:30. So you're having dinner at kind of 4 o'clock, and you've got to find somewhere that's open, or you're living on sandwiches for weeks, you know, for months on end. And it's really tiring. It starts off great, and the adrenaline, and then it's fun, and then you get to the kind of, and everybody feels it. You think, oh, geez, I got another 50 of these shows, you know,
screaming kids and everything.
Oh well, that's lovely. Oh, you'd love it, Neil. I mean, for Neil, you would like it. As you both know, get very, very, very restless. And if I'm bored, I get very restless and I get very depressed if I'm bored. I can't stand, and this is why I can't do it again. I cannot, this is deadly serious. I can't bear being in a dressing room, sitting there hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, staring at a breeze block wall. It drives me mad. And
See, I wouldn't
yeah.
mind doing it, but Christmas is my busiest time of year at work, so I know that I wouldn't currently have time to do it. But I've been in professional and semi-professional productions, particularly in Birmingham, like musicals. So Fiddler on the Roof and Witches of Eastwick and that sort of thing, and My Fair Lady. So
If I were a rich man.
I have often walked on that street before, and there
it's very
is
telling.
this soul. Yeah,
very telling the songs you each went for. Then brilliant.
Playing against type.
I just remember Topol going, "If I were a rich man."
Do you know? I met him. I met him a few times. I had to interview him as well on one occasion. He was absolutely lovely, very genial, a gentleman. Very, very nice. And then what was hilarious about the end of the interview, his taxi didn't turn up. And so I gave him a lift back to his hotel.
It's nice. People are people. Most nice people are nice people, apart from monsters. So that's the true answer is you get terribly, terribly tired.
Yes.
But you make some lifelong friends.
I'll bet.
Which I did.
Who was the best person you worked with, Russ?
I'm going to say this will mean nothing to many people because you often share a dressing room.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, it is literally hell on earth. You're stuck in a small room with someone you don't like and they don't like you. It's hell. It's like the world's worst marriage. I worked with loads of lovely people. My favorite was a guy who's one of the busiest cruise acts ever, called Jeff Stevenson. I'd never met Jeff. We did panto together in Hayes, the Beck Theatre Hayes.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Just got on like we are still pals. He still makes me laugh like nobody. His act is brilliant. He was fantastic in terms of learning, because I like to learn from the best. If you don't learn, you're an idiot. If you've got the opportunity and someone's at the top of their game and you're not learning and observing, you're an idiot. Shame on you. Russ Abbott, amazing, amazing. And I learned so much from him. And he'd say to me, Russ, remember this. It doesn't matter if you get the laugh or I get the laugh. All that matters is we're entertaining the audience. I mean, how generous. Where you've got other people who I'm not going to name. It's me. I didn't get the laugh. That's my laugh.
No, but it's true. At a comedy night, you want the MC to be brilliant because it boosts the acts. You want the acts to be brilliant because it boosts the room. And it's just a win-win-win-win-win. If one's, it's and you can live your ego stroke just by performing. But if you get possessive, it should be mine, then it doesn't work out that way.
It's all a team effort.
It's very nice. I mean, I did panto with Vanessa Feltz. I'd known her since.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yes, I did. 1984. That was fun because we just would hang out and have a laugh, etc. Gary Wilmot was a delight, and watching him kill it every night.
Oh, I saw him in Me and My Girl when I was a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, Gary.
Have you ever worked with Dave Benson Phillips, Russ?
No. You know the fabulous story about Dave Benson Phillips?
Well, I'm on a bill with him. I'm on a comedy bill. He's headlining.
Oh, really?
Here's the thing. Because everything is done at a cost, and these pantos, they're putting out maybe 100 pantos simultaneously, these huge multi-million-pound production companies, right? So you're inheriting the costumes are recycled, the sets are recycled, etc. So with the posters, what they do, they'll have a photo session and they'll use that photo for years and put a different hat on you and shove you in a different costume. It's all photoshopped, right? So Dave Benson Phillips, who is black, there is a point to this, who is black, had been in panto, big panto favorite. And they do the poster in the way that I've just described, recycling it and a bit of Photoshop. He phoned up the producers. He said, just one thing. He said, look at my hands. They went, what? He went, look at my hands.
Oh, no.
And of course, blackface, white hands.
Oh, God.
He took it. I mean, he thought it was hilarious, and it's still a standing, absolute
Brilliant.
standing joke. Danny LaRue. I mean, what can you say? I never ever thought I would be on stage doing scenes with Danny LaRue.
Apparently, according to my radio wife, Nikki Patrick, she's got an acting background and she worked with Danny LaRue. And he used to bring his little dog. And if they didn't want to let the dog in the theatre, he'd say, "No dog, no Danny."
The full thing, the full story for that. His dog was called Jonty. Now, you know I love dogs.
Yes.
But this was, forgive me, Danny, up there, the ugliest dog I've ever seen in my life. It looked half dead. It was the ugliest dog. And I never say that. I always find something lovely because they're dogs. I adore dogs, even when I'm mopping up after them all the time at the moment. Anyway, he was going to Panto at Southampton. He was doing Southampton, and the show before it had been Annie, which, as you know, has a little dog. So he walks in with Jonty under his arm and go, "Sorry, Mr. LaRue, can I stop you for a minute, sir? Sorry, Mr. LaRue. I see you've got a dog. Dogs aren't allowed. In fact, when we did the production of Annie, which preceded this production, the council said absolutely no dogs." And he just looked at this guy and went, "No Jonty, no Danny, no show." And he just breezed on past. That was the end of the discussion.
Excellent.
On Mother Kelly's doorstep, down Paradise Row. 50 hours in the business.
I must just say to Fat Scotty, I have seen episodes of Tiswas as reruns, which is going to annoy both the boys now because it was on before my time.
Shut up for a start. Shut up. Who invited her? I didn't invite her. Danny LaRue. I was in this panto. There was me, Bobby Davro, Melinda Messenger, and Danny LaRue, and loads of others, right? Danny gets there, and Melinda, who was big, no gags, was huge at the time, right? She was playing Cinderella, had on the posters and the billing above Danny LaRue, who was in the autumn of his career, it's fair to say. And he went nuts.
Did he?
And he said, "If that billing isn't changed and the posters aren't changed, I'm walking." And you can see them. So these really crappy posters had to go all around because there was no time. There was no time, and it had to change all the billing because they needed him in the show. And, you can't just, it's very difficult. You want a leading dame. Everyone's like Bobby Crush or whoever it might be. Everyone's booked. They're booked, way in advance. I've never forgotten that. He was fun. I was just in awe. It was Danny LaRue.
I hear Melinda Messenger. I've never met her, but I've heard she's absolutely lovely.
She was great. You know what I said about the first day of rehearsals? You're meeting these people. You're going to be stuck with them for 2.5 months. No escape, right? I never met Melinda Messenger. I thought, I don't know. I hope she's not going to be different. You don't know what they're going to be like. She walked in and said, "Hi, morning, everybody. Who wants a cuppa?" Gee, that's Melinda Messenger. And off she went down to the kitchen and came back with a tray. And I thought, "You're great. That's a cracking thing to do." She was delightful. But it's so interesting that she was seen as this phenomenal sex symbol, the ultimate pin-up, and got tons of fan mail. But, in reality, like everybody else, just a completely normal.
She is a very beautiful woman, though.
Oh, she's funny enough. She's managed by, she keeps flipping and flopping between two people who I happen to know and mates who look after her, and she's still very attractive, and she's still very nice, and was charming. But it's funny, people would come and to be so timorous to ask for an autograph, and the wives would be saying, "Oh, my Fred, he loves you, Melinda." And Fred's standing there like a Belisha beacon, bright red, and the wives go, go on, get the autograph." It's just like, you think, well, it's funny how people, Aza's talking about projection, how people project, they project what they think you are onto you when you're not like that in the least. Does that make sense? Or
all the time, until the ice is broken, you can get to know someone. And like you say, most people, if you treat them right, are absolutely fine. Most.
They're just people, People have said, that Lionel Blair is so difficult. This couldn't have been more charming. Could have
Nonsense.
been nicer.
I met him. There was a family around here that used to do these massive Christmas lights in their residential road and just raise money for a charity every year. And they got Lionel Blair along. So I met him in this person's front room. Charming man.
He was absolutely, he was charming. He was Mr. Showbiz. He was delightful. But what I learned, if you learn anything from these things, and I learned it from Ross Abbott, and I learned it from the great John Inman as well. I did 2 pantos with John Inman. And the level of professionalism is fantastic. I'd see them do this night after night, matinee after matinee, and it never varied. And it was always great. And Ross Abbott would say, I know you're really tired. I know you've done this 20,000 times, but they've never seen it before. And they've paid for the ticket. And that's my attitude. Yeah. That's my attitude to life. That became my attitude to life. Yeah, you may be tired and exhausted and bored with it, but they've never seen it. And your job was there to entertain them. That's your job. That's the unwritten contract. They'll buy a ticket and come out and get babysitters or whatever it is, and you have to entertain. That's the deal. And I think that's quite right. That's quite right. I really do. Look at that. Fence needs paint. The big news as it breaks. Come on, Liz, you're the news queen. What does it say?
Sorry, guys, got to go. The fence needs painting. Thanks for a great show. Well, thank you, Philip, for showing up.
Would you like to read this? Who would like to read this? This is from Paul Claridge.
Go on, Liz. I'll let you read that one.
Yesterday, I had some proper canine therapy. I wonder what he was going to say then. As I was helping my friend Marnie at a dog show in Hackney. Marnie was presenting Doja, Yoga for You and Your Dog, with her dog Robbie, and I was her glamorous assistant. Does that mean he was the dog? I think I must have met and stroked at least 50 wonderful dogs. Oh, and I got to do a bit of unplanned comedy on stage with Robbie too.
Good. That's good. If you were going through what Paul's going through, believe me, you would want some comedy in your life. Damn right. So what do we think we've learnt today? Neil Long, what do you think? What are the
Be yourself and laugh.
Accept lots of laughter and accept yourself as you are.
It sounds so small and simple, and yet I think it's the hardest thing you can ask of yourself. I do. I think it's really hard. It's what I strive for.
Yeah.
It's perfect. What do you think you would draw from the last 57 and a half minutes?
Have a laugh. Be yourself. Yes, it is a very simple thing. And also the hardest thing to do in this world is live in it.
I don't understand Fat Scotty's joke. Am I being really thick? I'm putting it up on screen. You're the comedian. Neil Long. Liz has disappeared. She's fainted. What does it say?
I don't get that. Liz, are you all right?
Liz? Oh, my God. Is she okay?
I think so. Liz?
Drama unfolded today on a show called The Midday Show. Blimey, where's she? Blimey, that's a bit worrying.
Yeah.
Seriously, not a joke. I don't know where she is.
Take me off for a second. I'll give her a call. Can I throw to you?
I'm taking you off, boy. I'm taking you off. What the hell? Whoa. That was creepy. I don't like things like that. Liz was chatting away and she suddenly disappeared. I don't know where she is. She's not on my little screen down below, but you can't see. All right, this is the news. This is the joke. I'm presuming it's a joke, Scott Lyons. Breaking news. Bruce Lee's daughter has launched a new range of mobile phones. Good on you, Simone. Simone Lee. Am I missing the point? Oh, God. Thank you, Graham. Sim only. I've just spent 3 minutes on that gag. Jeez, Scotty. Sim only. Jeez. God damn it. Right. Do we know what's happened to Liz?
No.
Don't. Well, how scary and worrying is that?
She's not in the green room anymore, so I guess she's dropped off.
Gone. That's a bit weird. Ooh, don't like that at all. All right, the joke has been explained.
Sim, I'm embarrassed I didn't get that.
I didn't get it at all, which either means that's thick or it wasn't a great game. Anyway, yeah. And now it's breaking out into a fight. I understand Wolverhampton. You know what? This isn't a dress rehearsal. That's what my late wife used to say to me. She said, you know, this isn't a dress rehearsal. It's the real thing. And it's the only time we get on the merry-go-round. So you might as well try and enjoy it as much as you can. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to the choir. Neil, you will be back on Wednesday. Thank you for everything. I love your wisdom, and I love the fact that you study all these things and can talk about it in a proper level, and I just can ask the questions. We will find out what's happening to Liz. Take care, everybody. Neil will be back on Wednesday. I'll be back on Friday. Until then, stay out of trouble. Hope Liz is all right. Bye-bye.